Welcome back, game developers. Last time we created the title screen for our Pong game, and we also made a ball that could go back and forth with paddles that could move up and down. So today we're going to continue working on this by making the ball ricochet off the paddles at an angle, and also make sure that if the ball hits the ceiling or the ground, it'll stay on the playfield there, as well as some other things like score and stuff. So let's jump right into it. We're going to head over to our game event sheet, and we are going to create a function. So right click at the bottom, do add function. We'll call this hit paddle 1. All right, so when the ball hits paddle 1, we'll go ahead and call our function. So add action, functions, and hit paddle 1. So how are we actually going to calculate this? Well, basically we're going to say if the ball hits the top third or the bottom third of the paddle, then we're going to add 2 to the slope. And if the ball hits the middle of the paddle, the middle third, we'll add 1 to the slope. So that way, as the game keeps going, the ball is going to start moving at a more extreme angle. All right, so let's code it. Go to your game event sheet, go to our function, and we are going to right click it and add a sub event. And this will be system is between values, and our value is going to be ball.y, and our lower bound will be the top of the paddle, so that would be player1.y minus half of its height, so player1.height divided by 2. And then the upper bound is going to be player1.y minus 1/3 of the height of the paddle. So player1.height divided by 3. So that takes care of the top of the paddle. Let's do the bottom of the paddle. Let's right click our condition here and make it an OR block. Okay, and then right click it again and do add another condition. System is between values. And again, we'll do ball.y, and is it between what two? So the lower bound is going to be player1.y plus 1/3 the height. So player1.height divided by 3. And the upper bound will be player1.y plus half the height. Player1.height divided by 2. All right, so if either of these conditions are true, it means that the ball has hit the edge of the paddle. So in those cases, we want to add 2 to the ball's slope, but we need to know what direction the ball is going. So we will add another sub event, and we'll check the slope of the ball. So system, compare variable, ball slope. If it is greater than 0, that means it's positive, so we'll add 2. So system, add 2 to ball slope y. If we right click this condition again and add another sub event, we can do the other direction. So system, compare variable. If ball slope is less than 0, that means it's negative. So we'll subtract 2 from the ball slope y. So system, subtract from ball slope y, we'll subtract 2. So when the ball hits player 1's paddle, it reverses direction and then calls our function here. And this function then checks the y coordinate. If it's in the top third or bottom third of the paddle, then we're going to increase its slope by 2. So now let's take care of if the ball hits the middle. So we're going to right click our function here at the top, and we will add another sub event. And we'll do system is between values, and we'll see ball.y. Is it between player1.y minus 1/3 the height? So player1.height divided by 3. And the upper bound is the same thing, but the other direction. So player1.y plus 1/3 the height. Player1.height divided by 3. So this is the middle of the paddle, and if it hits the middle of the paddle, we want to add 1. So we can actually grab these two conditions and hit copy. So I clicked the first one, then I held Control and clicked the second one. Now I can do Control C to copy. I'm going to click this bottom event, hold Control and press V, and then I'm going to drag them until that black line looks like that. It's just got a little indent there. There we go. Now we're nested underneath. All right, so now we'll just change these to say add 1 and subtract 1. And then that way the ball is not going to reverse directions when it hits the paddle on the y-axis. All right, the last thing is we want to speed up the ball. So we'll just add an action. We'll do system, add to ball speed. We'll go ahead and add 1. Okay, our first function is completed. Now we need to do the same thing for paddle 2. So we can actually just copy this function, Control C, press Control V to paste it. And now we just need to replace some things. So I'm going to click the first one and right click it, do replace object. And I'm going to replace player 1 for player 2. I'm going to go on down the line here and replace all of these player 1s with player 2s. Okay, and then right here at the top for player 2, when the ball hits player 2's paddle, we need to subtract 1 from ball speed because it's going to be a negative number, right? So subtract 1 there. There we go. All right, these functions look good. Let's go ahead and hit the arrow on the side to collapse them. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a function call to ball hits player 2. Right here we'll do add action, function, hit paddle 2. All right, now let's grab our functions and just bring them to the top up here with the other functions and keep them all together. Okay, so before we test this, we need to change ball slope y. Let's change that to 1. It just can't be 0, otherwise these conditions won't trigger. All right, so let's go ahead and try it out. Okay, we can see there's the ball, and there we go, it goes at a more extreme angle. All right, so our ball then leaves the screen, so let's add some code so that the ball stays on the screen. Let's go back to your game events. We'll go down to the bottom here, and let's go ahead and hit Q, and let's say ball hits top or bottom of screen. And we'll add an event, and we'll say ball compare y. If it is less than 0, and then right click it and do make or block. Then right click it again and do add another condition. Or the ball's y coordinate, compare y, is greater than the bottom of the screen, right? Which is viewport bottom, parentheses, 0, parentheses. So if either of these are true, it means our ball is leaving the screen. So all we have to do is multiply the ball slope y times -1, and it will flip it around and send it in the other direction. So let's go system, set value, ball slope y to equal ball slope y again, what it currently is, times, right, that's shift 8, times -1. All right, let's go ahead and give that a try. All right, and there we go. Our ball is staying on screen. For some reason, it looks like it's slowing down. What's going on with that? Take a look at our events here. So we want to change ball speed and then call our function. So make sure it's in that order. Ball speed and then hit paddle. Ball speed and then hit paddle. Let's try that. All right, there we go. Now our ball's starting to speed up and we're getting the different angles. It's staying on screen. So now let's make it so that the players can actually score. All right, hit Q and we'll do player 1 scores. Okay, so how will we know if the player 1 has scored? Well, if the ball has left the right side of the screen, that means the player 1 has scored. And if the ball leaves the left side of the screen, that means player 2 has scored. So the right side of the screen is just viewport right. So if the X coordinate of the ball is greater than viewport right, player 1 has scored. And if the X coordinate is less than 0, that means player 2 has scored. So let's go ahead and code that. Go ahead and add an event, and we'll do ball compare X. And if X is greater than viewport right, then we know player 1 has scored. So we can add action, and first let's destroy the ball. Okay. Then let's add 1 to player 1's score. Then let's update our score text, and we can actually just grab that line of code from our create game function right here, the set text. So I'm just going to copy that and come on down here, click this line of code and Control V to paste it. So that'll update our text. Okay, and then we need to reset the ball. So to do that, let's make another function. So let's right click the bottom, do add function, and let's call this reset ball. Okay, and in reset ball, we're going to add an action system. We'll do a wait command. So we'll wait 1 second so it doesn't happen immediately. Okay, so now we need to create our ball. So we can grab a couple of lines of code from our create game function. Down here we create the ball and we set its ball start speed. So we can just grab those. Again, I click the first one, then I hold Control and just click the second one. That allows you to click many things. Whoops. Okay, so hold Control, you can click them both, then Control C. We'll come back down here and we'll paste it. Control V. Okay, and then we just need to reset the ball slope. So we'll add another action. System, set value, ball slope. We'll just set that to 1. Okay, so we have our function here, so now we can call it. So in line 27, we'll do add action, function, and then reset ball. All right, let's go ahead and bring this function back to the top. Keep it with all the other functions. There we go. Okay, now let's make it so player 2 can score. Okay, it's going to be the same idea as this one right here. So we can actually just copy this, Control C, and paste it, Control V. Then in this condition, we're just going to change it to say that the ball's X coordinate is less than 0. And if so, we need to add 1 point to player 2. There we go. Okay, and then it resets the ball again and the game can continue going. All right, let's go ahead and test this. Let's go to title screen and hit play. All right, we got a ball moving at angles, stays on the screen, and if you score, boom, there's that 1 point. Let's go ahead and score again, see what happens. Boom, we got another point. Awesome. Now let's make it so that one of the players can actually win the game. Okay, so our code works. Let's go ahead and add a comment here. This is player 2 scores. All right, now we need to make it so that they can actually win, right? So we're going to add a condition to both of these. We're going to right click it, add another condition, and we're going to say as long as player 1 score does not equal the max score, right? Then the game can continue going with a reset ball. Okay, same thing for player 2. Add another condition, system, compare variable. Player 2 score does not equal the max score. Okay, then the game continues on. But now let's make it so that you can actually win the game, right? So enter Q, we'll do win game. And to win the game, the player just needs to have the same amount of points as max score. So let's add an event, and we'll do system, compare variable, player 1 score is equal to max score. If so, the game is going to end. So we're going to create a text object to show that player 1 has won. So system, create object, we'll create that text object. We're going to create it at the center of the screen. So that's viewport right divided by 2, and viewport bottom divided by 2. Then we're going to set what that text actually says. So text, set text, and let's have it say player 1 wins. Okay, and then after player 1 wins, we're going to go ahead and just wait 7 seconds. And then we are going to reset the global variables and then go to the title screen. Okay, same thing for player 2. Go ahead and copy this event, paste it, and then we're going to change this to say player 2 is equal to max score. If so, we'll create the text and we'll set that text to say player 2 wins. Wait 7 seconds and then reset everything. Okay, our game is coded. Let's give it a try. Go into title screen, hit play. All right, let's see. Can we, lost 1 point already. We set max score to 5, so we want to see if once we hit 5, if the game ends. All right, it worked. But we saw that we got 1 extra ball created. So let's add 1 line of code to take care of that. So at the bottom here, we'll add an event. We'll do system, compare variable, and we'll say if player 1 is equal to max score, and then right click it, make it an OR block, then add another condition. Or if player 2's score is equal to max score, then we just want to destroy that second ball that gets created. All right, let's give that a try. So once we hit 5, we should get our win text, and then no balls should respawn. All right, there it is. It worked. Awesome. That concludes part 2. In part 3, I'll show you guys how to customize your game.